Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Hope you're getting ready for a great weekend. Pam Forrester joins me today, and we have a practical show because we're talking about those small but very important tips to avoid disaster on your Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line day. We're giving you tips, small things, but super practical, like not forgetting your prescription medications when you head out the door. Because for me, in my case, I get migraine headaches. If I don't have my pill for my migraines, that could be a disaster in a Disney park with all the blazing sun and the bright lights and spinning around on roller coasters. Also, you're going to have your juice to get through the day on your smart device. Shoes. What are you thinking about as far as being able to walk 10, 20,000 steps in a day? These and much more practical information coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, our podcast is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you, as always, to our Patreon supporters. You guys are our all-stars. We couldn't do this without you. You can also support us on Patreon as well, just $5 a month. And for that, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this weekend. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2563 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're getting ready for an awesome weekend. It is homecoming weekend, HOCO, here in Francis Howell. That's right. We're taking on the Fort Zumwalt West Jaguars, which when you travel over to their home stadium, when they score touchdowns, which is rare when we play against them typically, they have this thing that happens. And it it's aggressive, man. It's because we don't have sound effects like when we score. We just have fireworks. We have pyro. So I guess that is aggressive. They probably think that's pretty aggressive when we score touchdowns on them. Because the Norfleet family sponsors our pyro, and sometimes we used to run out when we had a really good team. This year, we're young. A lot of our players are playing for Mizzou because they've graduated. We have 6 guys that play for Mizzou right now, so we're a young squad, and we're taking our lumps this year, playing really good teams. But, so it's HOCO. So a lot of stuff happening here this weekend. Always exciting when your town's going through homecoming. So hope you're planning to have a great weekend wherever this show finds you. Getting ready to talk some Disney, and joining me, we're having a good time. Pam Forrester, she's co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Pam, homecoming, your area, any big memories from homecomings passed up your way? What's up?
Man, so when I went to high school, our mascot was a Mustang.
Nice.
We were the Mustangs.
We were the Hawks back in the day. Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I always think like there's some mascots that are easier to sort of personify than others, right? A Mustang's a little hard just because like the horse doesn't typically walk around on 2 legs.
True. That is true.
So what are you doing? Are you down on all fours? Are you whatever? I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of like Bullseye, right? I mean, because so they had
True.
on the Disney Cruise Line, right? They had this for a while there. They had this like breakfast upsell where you could have that experience with Jesse, and Bullseye came out and did a little dance.
Yeah,
that's a tough gig there. Bullseye there.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Interact.
I mean, it does make sense because Bullseye did kind of walk around. Well,
he's kind of awkward.
Yeah, it was.
A little bit.
It is for everyone, but I mean,
that kind of gets back to last Friday's show. Like having a conversation with Bullseye, not the easiest thing in the world.
Yes, because
give me some
Bullseye
hook.
doesn't talk in the best of times.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little awkward on all levels.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're like, are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah,
are you
laying it
not?
down. Yeah, exactly.
So he's got to do a lot of this and a lot
Exactly.
of
How's Woody been? Exactly. How are things in
So,
the stable?
anyways, yes,
Yeah, exactly.
homecoming. Homecoming was a lot less formal when I was.
Oh
in
my
school.
gosh, it is so strong. It's a whole thing of like growing up these days. Thank God we grew up when we did, right? It's just,
Yeah,
oh
it
my
is.
God. Like I couldn't imagine, like, cause I mean, it was just, and plus like when I was in high school, I mean, you know, I had one girlfriend like all through high school. So it like wasn't pressure, right? Like now it feels like everybody's got different, you know, relationships, most kids like all through high school. And like, you got to do the whole, like, you know, the guys asked Mallory, like with the, like they show up like
the
it, like at a football game, like the sign, right? Will you Hoko, you know, and like, it's like popping out of bushes with signs and
Yes.
all that stuff and posting it on social media. I was like, holy God, the pressure, like, holy
I know.
smokes.
Agreed.
Jeez.
Agreed. What if like now as a married person that there were certain things that like you had to do to like ask PM something, like if you had to be like dinner please.
I hardly see Pam like this week because like she's the vice president of the cheer boosters.
Right.
And like we like do a whole bunch of stuff like all homecoming week with like Spirit Week and Powder Puff, and I mean, I won't see her this week, you know? So yeah, it's a text message. Like, dude, do you want to meet at LS Teca for like 37 minutes so we can share fajitas and like I can see you before the football game? That's romance, baby. I'm telling you, at this point of our lives.
Right.
We'll
I
sit
know.
together at the football game tonight. That's it. You know?
I would have to come up with this elaborate scheme to ask Steve to plant like some of the stuff that I want planted in the yard. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe like I'm poster board. Like, I don't know. I'm going to need schooling on some of this. So anyways.
You just gave me a great idea. Like this afternoon, if I can find like an extra 20 minutes, because there's a Walgreens across the street. I'm running over to Walgreens and getting a poster board, and I'm just going to write on it. You know, like, because all the signs, like, it says, like, you know, Hoko, question mark. And all the boys will pop out and ask the girls, you know, around here. That's like the deal. And they post on social media. I'm just going to make a sign that says fajitas, question mark. And then just like text it to her. Like, I'll be holding it, like, take a selfie and just like totally text it to her, like, fajitas at 4:30 before the game.
I love it.
She'll block me. I'll never be able to text her again.
Now you won't. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll be going.
She'll say no.
Do
you still post it if they say no?
I would, because I'm a dork, but because I think it'd get great engagement numbers. So I'd totally post.
Right. So I want to know if Pam says no.
You know she will. And she'd be like, why are you asking that? That's so dumb. That'd be her answer. Anyway, good luck to everybody at homecomings all throughout the world this season of homecomings, and just enjoy it. So today, anyway, speaking of disasters, that's kind of what we're talking about today. And we had a good time last week with our show. Thank you for the great feedback last week with last Friday's show, where we just kind of went around. Ricky was joining us. She's, of course, went down to Walt Disney World this past weekend, so she was still there as we recorded, went to the Halloween party, had some fun with Lucy and Brian, went to all the parks. We'd love to give her, you know, she did a couple podcasts and then had to take a month off. No, just kidding. We love Ricky. But she got down there, got to have a good time, went over to Universal and stuff. But it was fun just talking about, you know, interactions with face characters and the, you know, the other characters and favorite.
All of our dumb questions.
Dumb questions, you know what? But man, over in the clubhouse, it really stirred conversation about the tracks you would add to Cosmic Rewind. I mean, we have some DJs in our audience. Great songs. Yes. And I mean, we even have like a Halloween playlist they could add to Cosmic Rewind out of the 80s, or Christmas, like Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. Can you imagine that? That'd be awesome. But that was fun. So today, though, we're going to get a little practical, because we're going to think about things on our Disney vacations, and we're going to talk cruise line. We're going to talk Disneyland, Walt Disney World. There's small things, because of course there's like blog posts that are like clickbait that you'll see on whatever that are like, oh, don't you avoid these 7 things you won't believe. Number 4. That's God, those things always get me on Apple News. I'm like, I'm a sucker. Like,
I will not click.
I won't either. Then I do. I'm like, I won't click. My finger, bam, boom, I hit it, and then it's like, and then you hit it, and the algorithm's like, he likes those kind of posts, so you get them for the next 7 years. You know,
yes,
like, exactly. Like I clicked on one Tennessee thing like 2 weeks ago, and like, I'm getting Instagram ads for Tennessee stuff for the rest of my life. Like everything's orange. I'm like, I'm a Mizzou fan. I do not want to buy Vol Nikes. Stop. I like Peyton Manning. He's hilarious. I don't want to buy Tennessee stuff. Like, I don't need a Tennessee football jersey. I'm a Mizzou fan. Like, quit. I clicked on one Tennessee thing. Like, stop. Algorithms kill me. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So we're going to talk about things that if you don't think about these things, and they're easy to miss, but like mistakes, because these are mistakes like we've made it many times, and they can really put a damper on your Disney day, getting out the door and throughout the day. So I thought about this because one of the things that I have to make sure that I'm careful about is that I'm super prone to migraines. I get migraines really bad. And if I get one, when I get a migraine, usually I have it for like 3 or 4 days and you just got to ride it out. That's just how it is. I've had these for years. I've had concussions from back in my speed skating days and hockey playing days. A lot of blows to the head. You would never know that from my podcasting, right? Yes, that's exactly why I am the way I am. But I do have a medicine that is prescribed to me and it's super strong. But if I take it, it will knock the migraine out for like 8 hours and I'm saved. So that pill but the thing is with this prescription, you only get 9 of them at a time. I don't know what it is, but you don't get a lot of them. So they're like magic bullets. But when I leave the hotel room for the day, I got to make sure I have one of those with me, because when you're in a Disney park, you're riding coasters and you're out in the heat and you're on your feet all day. You're out in the bright sun. You know, I wear glasses now. I've had to make the transition from contacts to glasses like since COVID because my eyes just aren't what they used to be. I don't like wearing glasses, but it's just one of those things. I'm older and I've decided I'd rather see better than look better. So that's just how it is. So just when I leave the room, I have to make sure, like, you know, you have like your stuff on the counter, like you got to make sure, but you know, these little pills, they're small, but I have left, and like taking a Tylenol or a couple of Advil, that doesn't cut it. When I start to get a migraine coming on, that doesn't work. I have to have one of these magic bullet pills for my migraine. And if I can take that right away, day saved. I can keep going. I feel great. But if I don't, and I get a migraine, stomach will start hurting. I'll start getting nauseous. Like, it's just, my day goes downhill so fast. And it's just such a bummer because your whole day is just ruined. And like I said, it'll just carry on. It's really hard to recover from that. So it's just one of those things, like, I think one of the things to remember is, like, if you have like something like that, like prescription medication that can nip something like that symptoms in the bud, just the night before, just put it next to your magic band. You know, I would say like your keys or whatever, but you know, whatever you're going to take, your phone, probably not going to leave what are you less likely to leave the room without? Put it next to your phone, your magic band, what have you. But I have left without it, and I'm just like, oh, because by the time I go back to my room, it's too late. Like, it takes 45 minutes. And once the migraine hits at a certain level, it doesn't even hardly work. So yeah, prescription medicines, if you got to have it in your pocket, because even if I don't get one that day, I feel better just knowing it's there. Like, mentally, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready. Like, if I get one, I'm good. So that kind of stuff, prescription medication, having it in my pocket makes me feel good. So that's kind of where I'm starting. Yeah. Pam, what about you?
I agree. Yeah. So sort of on the same line, I always take my own water bottle. Like, I always have it. I have all throughout the day, I have a water bottle that's sitting here next to me. But when I go into the parks or travel or anywhere, I have a water bottle. I fill it all the time. And if I don't have that, it's like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like, even though I know there are water bottles that are sold like in the park and whatever, I like, especially when it's hot, to drink water that's really cold, like with ice, the whole thing. And if I don't have the water bottle with me, it's just almost like you said, Mike, it's like the day's not ruined, but like, I just feel so much better having it. And the great news is that if you do bring your own water bottle, you can get cups of water with ice at any of the quick service locations where they have like a fountain drink or something like that. So it's also a great way to save money if you're going to want to do that. I usually end up bringing my own water bottles with me. And I will get a cup of ice sometimes to sort of fill it in because I like certain water. But I just think like the water bottle is like huge for my enjoyment of the park. For sure.
Does it bother you? Like, what kind do you carry around? Because maybe people are curious about that. Because I mean, like, you know, carrying it around all day, that's not really for me. Like, I'm not I get in huge trouble for this. Like, my wife, and I'm especially being a runner, like, this is terrible. Like, today I've done 20 miles already today, like on the treadmill and running this morning. Like, I ran 12 and I've already walked 8, like before we've done the podcast. So I am a poster boy. Like I should be hydrated, right? I've had like 5 Coke Zeros today and 0 water. Like this is why
No.
I have the problems I
Kidney
have, right?
stones.
Exactly.
Kidney
This is why I was in
stones,
the
yeah.
ER like a month ago. Exactly. I mean, and you're drinking out of your water right there, and
I know. You're like, I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like,
exactly. And I'm
thirsty.
a second Coke Zero since we've been recording. This is why
No.
I have. This is why
Yeah.
my doctors are like,
100%.
you're an idiot. But like Carrie, so. My girls got me a Stanley right last.
Yeah, I don't
Christmas.
take my
Dude,
Stanley into the
that thing
park.
is the tank. It's too big.
Yeah,
Like it's
it
heavy.
is.
I mean, but what do you recommend to carry
It is.
around?
So I've had Hydro Flasks. I've had Contigas. I've had the brand that Disney sells.
Oh, the Corksicle kind of thing.
I've had Corksicles. I've liked them all for different reasons, but I will tell you, I recently dropped my Corksicle on the cement from like sort of a high thing, and it didn't fare well. After that, I know. I was like, oh, I should get a new one. So I was looking on Amazon trying to figure out what I was going to order, and I ordered a new one. It's called Iron Flask, and they're there on Amazon. They're not super expensive. They're not as expensive as the Corksicles or the Hydro Flasks or any of them, and I've been really happy with it. They come in like lots of different designs. You have to figure out which one sort of works for you. I like one that's not quite so big, but I want something that's going to keep that ice cold for a big chunk of the day if I can. But check them out you can get them on Amazon. I'm sure other places too, but Iron Flask, I've been happy with it. And I like to have one that doesn't have too many different bells and whistles. Like I get a little skeeved out if I'm like working this like complicated apparatus like for drinking it, that like I'm not sure how I'm going to get in there and clean some of those spaces, and that whole thing kind of grosses me out. But I do really like this one, and I like the colors that it was available in and the styles. So I want something that's going to fit in my bag. It's easy, it's not going to be too heavy, and it's just essential for my park day.
Okay, good point. So my next one, again, I think a lot of these things are, maybe it's just my personality, but I think a lot of us, maybe not a lot of us, but I think there are folks in our audience that probably are similar to me. I don't know if we have the same wavelength, but I think there are a lot of people that maybe are like me. I need mental, like, a lot of these things I may not use throughout the day, but if I don't have them, I'm in mental disarray all day, like immediately, even though I don't need it for probably the first 50% of my day. I'm worried about it at 9:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I don't need to be worried about it at least until 4 o'clock. And it's having external batteries in my pocket for my devices. And the thing is, like, I usually have, an iPhone in my pocket, and I'm a pretty heavy user of it. I mean, we all have to use them for the My Disney Experience app. We're obviously always taking videos and pictures of cool stuff we see in the parks. I don't listen to any kind of audio or watch videos while I'm in the parks because I'm being in the moment, but I am definitely a person who takes a lot of video, a lot of pictures, and I will post a ton to social media while I'm in the park. So I do deplete my battery at a pretty moderate to decent rate throughout the day, but I tend to, I always get the Pro Max version of the phone, and it has a pretty honking battery, so it can last most of the day. And a lot of times I do go back midday and take a break, and that's not only a recharge for Mike Rallman, that's a recharge for all my devices. So many times I don't even, I go through the vacation many times and will use my external battery maybe once or twice throughout the whole week. I don't use it every single day because when I go back midday, my batteries have made it. I plug them in when I take my nap and I'm good for the night. So I don't even use my external batteries. But if I don't have it, like if I leave it sitting back at the hotel, mentally I'm freaked out that I'm going to run out of juice on my phone. And it stresses me to no limits. Like I'm one of those people that if my phone gets to 50% depleted, I am a worry wart. Now Mallory, don't get me wrong here. Now here's where this drives me wild. She will go out of the house with her phone like at 8%. No problem. She'll roll out 8% battery. I would not leave this house with my battery under like 90%. That would be a red alert. There's no way. But she has like, and then she'll be like, Dad, do you have an external battery? I'm like, yes, but they're all dead because I've given them all to you and you never return them. You never recharge them. You think they magically recharge. They never do. But that, again, we've had shows like where at night, the night before, you got to have like, I'm the dad. I'm like the recharge genie. I have to recharge everybody's external batteries. I have to have a system in the hotel room. But it's one of those things that if you leave the room without your external battery, and this is where I think it really, nowadays, the technology has become so good. You can get those external batteries. They're almost like credit card size. I mean, they're so thin. And a lot of them are like MagSafe, so they can just thunk right back onto your phone. You don't even need a cord at this point. A lot of times, I have one now that just goes thunk right onto the back of my phone case, no cord necessary, and it just sits there and recharges my phone if I need it. But I mean, just having that in my pocket gives me peace of mind, knowing I probably don't need it, but if I do, I can get another 5 hours out of my phone. So I think, again, disaster averted, having extra juice in your pocket if you need it.
Yeah, I agree. I have one that I keep it in my park bag, and I don't need it all the time, but when you do need it, you do. And I have a cord that I keep in there too, because I have a phone that has where it keeps my credit card there too, and I cannot get away from that. It has, since I got that feature years ago, it changed my life, like, because I can leave the house with my phone, period. It has my license and a credit card in it, always. So there are not many that can charge the phone when you have that there, because you can't have that. It doesn't work through the credit cards, you know what I mean? So I have to have the external battery and a cord. So I keep them in my park bags, period, because if you may not need it, but when you do, you need it. And that's just all there is to it.
Well, so I will say one thing, and it was because like I've seen Hannah use this for years, and you. So I hadn't used like MagSafe on my phones. And again, this is something I think a lot of people think about for their Disney vacations, because it's when you're really kind of thinking about how you use your technology well, because you're using it a lot more on a vacation, and it's front of mind, right? So I got a MagSafe case, and instead of, I always had just a case with like a pop socket on it that kind of was like attached by glue, right? It was just like part of the case. You had to like actually stick it on there with like glue or, like some kind of adhesive. Now I got one that's a MagSafe case. I got a pop socket that like magnetics to it. It goes, just like, it's a super strong magnet. But then I got, like you guys have, it's a wallet, like pop socket case. So it has space for 4 credit cards, but it's also a pop socket on the outside of that little wallet. Changed my life. I've not had to carry around my regular old man wallet that's got like 50 kind of cards in it. It just has my driver's license, my Disney Visa, my bank card, and my health card, like my health insurance card. It's got those 4 things in it. And it's got a pop socket on the outside of it so that I can like sit my phone up if I want to watch a football game at the restaurant or something, or, use it as a pop socket to hold it up and, carry it around. It's life-changing. But it also, like you say, I can just rip it off real quick. It's a magnet. And if I put that little charger on there in the parks and get some juice while I'm having dinner, it's those kind of things. Thinking about that before a trip, like having those little accessories, like $25 on the popsocket.com. And do I use it every day? Well, actually I do. I mean, so I leave it right on my keys, right? So like anytime I get in my Jeep, I switch my little bitty pop socket. I take that off, leave that there, put the little pop socket wallet right on my phone. And that's what I use when I leave the house. As soon as I get back and put my keys down, boom, put my little pop socket back on, put the pop socket wallet back with my keys. And it works great. But that's great for a vacation because you have everything you need right there in your phone. You got your Disney Visa, and then you got your Magic Band and you're set. You got everything you need.
It is. Something to think about. I love it too. It just, it makes life like easier. And on the same note, I will say the other thing I have on my phone is, and I use this primarily when traveling, is there is a little like loop. And what happens is it comes with this credit card that has a little almost material, but like a nylon loop at the end. And you put it before you put on your phone case, you put it there and it pops out the bottom where you plug in your phone, where you plug in your lightning cord or something. This little loop here connects to a lanyard that I can wear around my neck and have my phone dangle. And it's really helpful, especially when you're traveling, to go hands-free with your phone, right? Because like I don't like putting it in a pocket, or if I don't have a bag, I can still have my phone, and the phone sort of hangs. It's a long lanyard, hangs around your neck, or you can crossbody it or whatever you want to do. But then you're hands-free with that. And the other thing it does, like when you're cruising or stuff like that, I hook it up, especially when you're taking pictures like off the side of the ship or whatever.
You're playing games like $1,500 phones sometimes.
Right?
Exactly.
And it does give you an extra layer of protection in that space. And I use it primarily when traveling. But again, this is one of the few times that if I walk out the door without it, that is the time I need it, right? During, like, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired of like having my phone in my hand or whatever. Or I wish I could just whatever. And this is another thing that I like to take during the day, because if I don't have it, it's like I really wish I did.
Well, so you mentioned that you've mentioned a travel bag many times. I used to always take a travel bag, like a backpack, to the parks. Always did. And for the past few years, I have not. Since Mallory got older, I've just kind of thrown stuff in my pockets, and I've traveled lightly because I go back to take a midday break typically when I'm on vacation. Mm-hmm. Do you always take a travel bag each day when you leave for the parks, or how do you determine like when you travel bag it, or when you just kind of go with a few items? Like how do you decide?
I don't always. I will say primarily just because it's easier to have that, and like then it holds the water bottle, it holds, the extra batteries, it kind of holds all that stuff. But there are some days when I like intentionally go light. I will say it's probably not a day that I'm spending a huge amount of time in the park. Like I'm going to go in, do something, come out, or I know I'm going to intentionally take a break. I don't know that I could go a whole day without some kind of bag. I think just because I don't take a ton into the park, but what I take is like important, and the water bottle takes up space, and the external battery takes up space. Like those kind of things do take up space. And if I didn't have a bag, it'd be harder to do that. I think guys have it easier because you still have the ability to do like shorts that have like a cargo shorts.
I was going to say that is the cargo shorts, not typically fashionable, and I agree, but dads, who cares? And here's the thing, like I've always thought this is like the ultimate hack of like, you can get around the bag line. And at the 100%. Mizzou game the other day, somebody totally said this in line, like we're going through the bag check, and in the SEC, in our football league, there's a clear bag policy, right? And they have these special bags, these purses, basically the women have to buy. Pam has one because we're season ticket holders. We use it every game. It's got the Mizzou logo on it, but it's clear, and it has to be this exact size. And all the women at our football stadium have the same one. And so you just walk through and they look at it because it's clear. Boom, you go through. And this guy who's from Boston College was in the line next to us, dude, big old baggy shorts. He went through with like 2 beers, and he's like, I'm like, but I mean, I know he got him in because he had on cargo shorts. Right? I'm like, score, dude. You're exactly right. You could bring in anything with it because we don't go through metal detectors or anything.
Right.
And that's what you could do at Disney. And for years, dude, I came in I was like a guy going through the desert on a camel. I had so much in my shorts. They probably weighed 50 pounds. I had like my belt, like it was just cinched up so tight so I didn't lose my drawers. It was crazy. But nobody said anything. I mean, those security guys know, oh my God, that dad's got 50 pounds worth of supplies in his shorts.
He brought lunch in his cargo shorts.
Sir, you are sagging beyond sagging. Please step aside. It was so bad.
Get that rotisserie chicken out of your cargo shorts pocket.
Yes. Please remove the 5-layer burrito from your pocket. Only some people will get that joke that watch college football this weekend. Jason will. Okay. So what other tips do you have that could lead to disaster if you're not thinking about this ahead of time?
So I will say this is not a disaster causing incident, but it is something that I think about. I've become used to my Magic Band Plus. Do I know I could enter with my watch? Sure. My phone? Yes. is it so much easier to just do it with my Magic Band Plus? It is. It just is. Like, I'm not opening the app, hoping that it's going to work the first time I open it, making sure I have Wi-Fi connection and everything to pull that up. I mean, I'm being a little dramatic in that space, but the Magic Band just works every time. And I like the little special things it does. I like, interacting with the statues or whatnot. So I like the Magic Band Plus. I don't know. Do you still wear it or not?
I do, but here's the thing. I will counter that with saying I used to be a prisoner to, like, I was super stressed if my Magic Band Plus was not charged, because I thought originally that if it wasn't charged, it would not work. There was no functionality if it went dead. However, the important stuff will still work even if it's dead. Like,
yep.
The fun factor is what you're charging, like the statues and all that, and the blinking and the fireworks, all that stuff, like syncing up to all that. That's cool. And so, like, you want to charge it every night if you can. Just throw it on there when you charge it. Again, I think the best thing is, before you go to bed every night, have a charging section of your hotel room for whoever it is in the family. Take care of everybody, because everybody else is going to be slugs, like in my family. I got to make sure I'm the person. And just boom. I mean, Pop Century probably dims when we plug in all our devices. It's crazy. It's just like from the grid. But I plug everything in. And so in the morning, everybody can just grab their stuff and put it on and put it in their pockets and go. But, ideally, everybody needs a full charge Magic Band. But if you don't have one, like, now, don't worry about it, because sometimes I'm just tired and I go to bed and it's still on my arm when I wake up in the morning, but I don't stress about it anymore because I can still use it to get in and charge. The biggest things is to get in, park admission, and charge stuff to it. So
exactly. Yeah. And I feel like, the Magic Bands, that technology works to get into the park. Like, I have never had a problem with my Magic Band not working.
People say they never. Don't, but I never have issues with it.
No, me neither. So I don't know. But anyways, I just am used to it at this point. So, and
I'm glad Disneyland has added the Magic Band, because I was there right as they made that transition, and I was like, people were like, what are you doing? And I was like, boop, because I'm like a world guy, at Disneyland, and a lot of people out there, I guess, like, it was foreign to them. I'm walking. Because, like, when I use my Magic Band out there, I mean, even some of the cast members were like, what? I was like, yeah, I know. Isn't this cool?
And amazing. Disneyland, I feel, is stressful to get in. Like, you have to you can see everyone's ticket, but you got to find your ticket to scan and blah, blah, blah. It's just not.
It's kind of quaint, though. You know what? Into the little, I don't know if you call them ticket booths, not ticket booths, but like the little huts or whatever, like they're smaller. I love the quaintness of the entry. I do kind of like that. It's kind of cute. It is. And the cast members, like, they kind of take your picture the first time, and they greet you. They're like, they were expecting you to come. They're like, oh, you finally made it out here, Mike. Oh no, what's going on? Hey, happy Tuesday. What's going on? Yeah. Okay, here's another thing that in the parks that can lead to disaster. And I've said this for years, but I'm going to remind you. This is a trap. I mean, this is like Admiral Akbar in Return of the Jedi.
I'm waiting to hear that.
I wish I had it. I don't have it on the board. It's a trap. Here's the thing. Okay, so everybody should take the midday break, because it recharges you. It gives you an opportunity to recharge your devices. Everybody's happy. Your phone, your whatever you need, your Magic Band, whatever needs you.
Drink some water,
yes,
Mike.
Hydrate. Your kids get to swim in the pool. They've been like at 10:30, they start saying, I want to go swimming. Let them swim. They want to do that. But you go back to your hotel. But here's the thing. But let's do one more thing before we go back to the hotel. Trap. And that gets you so in trouble, because, like, you say, okay, we're going to rope drop Magic Kingdom, and we're going to hop out and take a midday break, and then we're going to go to another park in the evening. And that's a well-laid plan. That's well executed. The coach has laid out the game plan. Well done. But you got to stick to the plan no matter what happens. Like, sometimes there's a curveball, and sometimes you're like, well, we're having a great day. We're going to throw in one more thing. Oh, look, Big Thunder's only 20 minutes. Let's hop on that. Let's just do that before we leave. Okay, so then you're like, okay, well, we're gonna get out of here before 11. We're gonna go catch a quick lunch at Columbia Harbor House before we left. That's fine. But then after that, look, we're messing around on your phone. You see, oh well, after that, we're really close to Big Thunder. We could just go do Big Thunder. It's only 20 minutes. Problem is, you do that, and then that's 20-minute wait. The ride takes 10 minutes. You had to walk over there for another 10. Then on the way out, all of a sudden there's an afternoon parade that the kids want to watch.
That's
and then all of
right.
a sudden, instead of getting out of there at 11:30, you're getting out of the Magic Kingdom at 1:00. And all of a sudden you're not getting the afternoon break that you were expecting because you have an ADR like at 4:30 or 5 at Epcot. So you have a hard out that you got to get, you got to make your move to the evening plans. You can fall into that trap so easy. So what you got to do, if you're going to take that midday break, you kind of do have to commit to jumping out of that morning park at a certain time. I know that sometimes you're just like, you're having such fun that you want to just continue to keep going if like the morning's rolling. But if you have, now you can do that if you don't have like commitments on the back end. But a lot of times we'll have an evening ADR at another park, like at Epcot or the studios, whatever. If you have that evening ADR and you want to have a midday break, you got to commit to jumping out, even if the morning's going well. If that one more thing can get you so in trouble, because it's not, you say it's a 20-minute wait, but that's going to be an hour of more time in that park, and it's going to eat up your midday break. So that's one of the things that gets me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I mean, every little decision that you make, you don't want to overstate the importance of it, but at the same time, it can snowball for sure.
Always.
For sure.
So what about you?
So on that same path, I'm going to go with the old tried and true. This one is, but I think it's easily lost in all these other things that you're remembering. You're going to want to have footwear.
Yes, that was on my list too, because I mean, dude, nothing screws you up like a bad pair of shoes. I mean, even like really expensive shoes can mess you up if they're not the right shoes.
100%. They need to be broken in, first of all. Don't go buying new shoes.
And no.
Be wearing them day one in the park.
Don't try to look good. Dude, that's trying to look good on your vacation for Instagram.
Yes.
I'm the person for that. I look terrible on Instagram, but you know what? I'm comfortable. That's it.
That's it. And they need to be shoes that you've walked in significant distances in, and
like
that they're comfortable.
Who are they? The Proclaimers. You got to walk 500 miles and then you got to walk 500 more.
To walk 5,000 miles. The math doesn't seem to add up. It does feel like they must have been in Disney World when they came up with that. Exactly. They were like that. But I will tell you, so I am like really picky about different footwear. I want it to fit right. I want it to work well. And there's a style of New Balance I buy all the time. Right out of the box, I can wear them. I don't typically have to break them in. Well, dumb me. Ordered a pair, stuck them in. I had them there. I'm like, I wear these shoes all the time. They'll be fine. Get them on first day. For some reason, this particular pair, blister on the back of my heel. I'm like, you have got to be kidding. If I have bought this style one time, I bought it 100 times. Never had an issue. That time I did. So anyways, I didn't follow my own advice in that space. And, I paid the price for that. And then once you have a blister, you have it. I mean, It takes a surprisingly long time for that to heal the whole way. So I think it's just something that people overstate that. And even if you're someone who never has problems, this is one time that you absolutely don't want to have problems, because to be able to do all the things, you're going to have to walk there. So just keep that in mind. Bring comfortable footwear.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you get that blister, it's especially at the beginning of a trip. I mean, it's not going to heal. I mean, it's only, I mean, your only prayer is that it's going to stay the same, and it's probably not. It's going to get worse. So then what you have to do is you got to get down to that gift shop and buy some Band-Aids and ointment.
Expensive Band-Aids, real Band-Aids, good Band-Aids.
And, stuff like Neosporin that's got painkiller in it, and just nurse it. I mean, because, you're paying the piper for that. You didn't do the right, you didn't go with the old reliable shoes.
Yeah. And you can't be trying to use the Band-Aid, that janky Band-Aid that's been in your pocket or in the suitcase for the last 10 years. You have to get new good waterproof
Yep.
Band-Aids if you want any chance of it staying on that blister.
And you know what? Sometimes it's even worth like an Uber ride over to a Target or something like that to get
100%.
those, because we do. You bring up that point. Like I will buy as a runner. There's because you got to take care of your feet sometimes because your feet get jacked up when you run. And I mean, I had that. I mean, I was in the hospital on Mother's Day with that staph infection because I let that thing get out of
Right?
control. I feel like, oh my God. When the doctor comes in the ER and looks at your foot and they're like, oh, we got to take a picture of that. I'm like, oh, what? And then they start drawing a line like, okay, if it goes past this line, we got real trouble. I'm like, oh, what? But anyway, so yes, I buy the expensive Band-Aids now, but yeah, so Target's got those Band-Aids that are like super waterproof and like you put it on
Yes.
there and you can take showers in it. And I mean, they do not move. So,
Yes.
you know, at that point on a Disney vacation, if you're staying there for a week and it's day 2, I know Uber rides are like $15-$20, but I mean,
You have to do it.
do you want to be in pain for 5 days for a $20? You know,
Yeah.
you spent $5,000 on a Disney vacation. Do you want to have a
Right.
comfortable foot, you know, for $15-$20? Just go over to Target and buy 7
You
of those.
want the
Band-Aids.
Next Care Band-Aids,
Yeah,
the
you wanna get the
waterproof
good
Next
one.
Care.
You know, and buy a little tube of Neosporin. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like you gotta,
exactly while you're there.
you know, it's yeah. Is it an inconvenience? You know, you're going to miss an hour of your vacation, 2 hours, but for the next 5 days, you're going to be a lot more comfortable, and you're going to also not get an infection. You're going to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's one of those things and I mean, I think also kind of as we wrap this show, maybe prepare yourself, like take a little bitty tube of Neosporin and maybe buy these Band-Aids and throw
Yes.
them in a kit. And 90% of the time you will not use these on your Disney vacation, but you know what? If you have to, what a relief, right? I mean, Pam, this is probably the best advice I could say is don't take that Uber ride. Don't take the Lyft ride. Have this in your toiletries kit, you know, because these Band-Aids aren't cheap. They're like $10 for like 10 of them. But man, if you have to use them, you would pay $10 for one of them.
Yeah, in the park, you're like my kingdom for a waterproof Band-Aid.
Because it'll save, I mean, because really it saves your vacation because
It
it can take the pain out of your foot for the rest of the day. And I mean, we all know that if you're having mobility issues on a vacation, it's just Walt Disney World is just an immense place. It's huge. And it would really ruin the quality of everybody. Because like if, you know, mom, dad, you know, the kids, because, you know, the kids could get one too. And I mean, can you imagine the kid telling you they got a blister all day, all night for a week?
Right.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
It is.
So any final thoughts? Could wrapping this one up here on a Friday, just trying to be practical because we want everybody to kind of consider things before they go so they don't fall into these little kind of small traps. You know, have your devices ready to go. Magic bands still work even if they're not charged, but they're more fun if they are. Have your juice ready to go. I mean, not stuff that's life shattering, but I mean, you know, if we can avoid, have your pills in your pocket if you need them, stuff like that.
Agreed. I think my biggest piece of advice, and this is for everyone, is that the most important thing that you're going to pack is a positive attitude and your attitude in general. There are absolutely going to be things that don't go the way you envisioned, don't go as planned, don't go, for lack of a better word, right during your vacation. But your ability to recover and, you know, get on with your day, get back to doing the fun stuff and not overdwell. I have seen hundreds, maybe thousands of times, especially on vacation, someone have one little thing that goes wrong and they work themselves up into a bigger and bigger and bigger thing. I get it. There are some things that you're definitely going to have to address. And there are a lot of things that if you really take the time to think about it, it's not even worth your time to spend another moment of your precious vacation thinking about. There are fantastic memories created by things that don't go right. And truly, that is one of the beauties of it. If you have the ability to sort of frame the way you look at things and be like, oh my gosh, wasn't this the most hysterical thing that you have ever encountered or heard of or whatnot, then you will have a much better vacation. It's just, there is something positive. You just have to look for it. And I think a lot of that is just sort of reframing what happened. Instead of being like, oh my gosh, can you believe that Tron went down during the time I have it? Then find something else to occupy that time. Don't sit there waiting for it to come back up, for gosh sakes. do something. You're on vacation. Even if you didn't get to do half of what you planned or a third of what you planned, you can still have a fantastic time. You are in control of that. There are many things you are not going to be able to control, but your attitude is something you can always control. And I will also just make another plea as a parent to show your children the resilience and optimism that happens, especially when things go wrong. When you can show your kids that, you're teaching them an incredibly valuable lesson. Don't let that go wasted.
And they will mirror that too down the line, right? They'll say, 100%. You know what, this is fine. Like, and the kids are like sponges, right? That is a great point. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, Pam, because Walt Disney World is such a great place to teach so many life lessons. Yes. And kids will pick things up good or bad, because they will pick up, they see the bad behavior, because I mean, unfortunately, the stress of a Disney vacation does bring out the worst in people sometimes down there too. I mean,
it does.
It is stressful. So model the good. I mean, I know our listeners do, but it is. I mean, I've gotten very stressed there at times. You're there with a million people. Sometimes, like if it's a first or second trip, a lot of things are unfamiliar. There's a lot of like rules, air quote rules that you have to follow, procedures and stuff to get on attractions. And it's kind of high stakes at times, but you're there with the people you love and you're in a very cool environment, getting to do awesome stuff. So just soak it all in and just roll with the changes sometimes.
Yes, that's definitely it. I don't want to give the ability for my vacation to be impacted. I don't want to give that to anyone else but us. I want it to just be something that we control, and 99% of the time that's what happens. So
I love it. So I keep going back, and I like to, always get to interact with amazing cast members, get to do, comfortable stories. Like, Jungle Cruise, been on a million times, but always get a kick out of it because there's always a new spin by a great Jungle Cruise skipper that brings a little bit of their personality into the attraction every time. Haunted Mansion, I've been on that a million times, but always pick up something new. Like, I didn't notice that time. It's just, there's something comfortable about it. Something, I just love the place. I love sitting on a bench and watching people from all over the planet, because I know that when I'm sitting there on Main Street, maybe that's grandma's very first time ever getting to experience the Magic Kingdom. And maybe she's been wanting to come here since she was a kid. How cool is that? It's just, there is truly something magical about being in a Disney park. So just enjoy it. There's these little pitfalls we brought up today. These are all things, hopefully, that if you just bring them to your mind's eye for 5 seconds, you can avoid them and it'll make your day better. Just, throwing that prescription medicine in your pocket, grabbing a Band-Aid, having your juice charged for your phones. I mean, that stuff, this practical stuff, but we just want you to have we just do these shows so you can have a great vacation. That's truly what we always want you to have. It's just a wonderful, wonderful vacation. And then come on a Monday show and tell us all about it so we can all share in it. That's what I love. So.
Yes, agreed.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Wish you a great weekend. Time to go to the homecoming football game tonight and beat those Jaguars. Go Howl. Oh, I got to tell you a funny story. I was going to tell you real quick, and I'll share it with our audience. So last weekend, we're playing one of our other schools in our district, the Francis Howell North Knights. Okay, so they're the Knights, right? The Knights in shining armor. They have an awesome mascot, right? So it's a guy in a shining art, like he's in a knight suit. He has a handler even, like, so it reminded me of Disney, right? So they, right. So they have a brand new campus. They've totally redone their whole high school. They got a brand new football stadium. It's almost done. They're just rebuilt it. They're demolishing the old school and stuff, and they're in the middle of all this. But everything at this school is new, and like it's really nice. So he's got like this whole new outfit, this knight, and he's got a handler. And like, I'm like, it's high school kids, right? So I'm like, this is like Disney. Like this guy's got a handler and everything. Well, apparently the costume has not been broken in yet. So it's like, he's walking totally like a robot. And I mean, and I kept telling Pam as I was watching him, because we were just killing this team. Like, this team is not very good. We're not that great this year either, but we were just smoking this team. So I'm watching this knight, as a Disney fan, right? And I could tell he was like struggling. And I'm like, I can't tell if his like costume has eyes or not. I can't tell if his like guy can see where he's going, because he was like, he kept like walking sideways and stuff, and he's like struggling. And the handler's not really paying attention. I'm like, somebody needs to train this handler, like take care of his knight. Anyway, big bomb play on the football field. We throw a bomb, guys breaking down the field for like a 50-yard touchdown. Pam's like, did you see that? I'm like, yeah, we scored. It's like 42-0. She's like, no, the knight just fell flat on his face. I'm like, what? And I look down there, the knight is boom. Like he is flat on his face and he can't get back up. So they're trying to pop him back up. And so the handler like wasn't paying attention apparently, like at all. And so now like a teacher has come out of the stands and now the handler notices. So like the teacher and the handler are trying to get the struggling knight back on his feet. No. And so the rest of the night, NIGHT, the rest of the night during the game, the knight was not moving. Like he was stationary in one spot and it was hot this night, NIGHT. So he was just like standing there. And it was smoking hot this night. So this guy was probably it or girl. I don't know who was in the suit, but I felt so bad because like the football players, we had to take water breaks halfway through all 4 quarters. This person was in there just smoking, like fell flat on their face. Like couldn't move because the suit was like inflexible, probably brand new. I mean, thick, great looking suit though. I mean, look,
they need the Disney character.
Oh, dude, they need to go to training,
right?
The handler could care less about their partner in crime. It was a crime against humanity of this knight suit.
Dang, they need the Disney character.
Oh my God, it was so fun. Any Disney fan that would have been in the stands that night would have been like, "This is a crime." They would never let their knight hit the ground that hard. Boom.
There's going to be a mascot union soon.
And my biggest regret of the night was that I did not get it on video to put on Instagram. I'd have made such a cool reel out of that.
Out of this misery.
I was like, dang, Pam, did you get it? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, man, Pam, what are you doing? Anyway, fun story for your Friday afternoon. All right, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back Sunday night with a live call-in show. Join us at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central for the BOGP open line. It's you, me, and Scotty G. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll take your calls. Give Pam a follow on social media at TMFLTPam. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. We'd love to connect with you over there. And, of course, join us in the clubhouse, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. The conversation continues 24/7, 365. All of our podcasts proudly brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney. Get out there and see the world. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all these shows possible. Couldn't do it without you. And you can support us as well, just $5 a month, and you'll get our bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over this weekend, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. All right, time to get out of here and let you get out to Friday Night Lights or just to have a great weekend. So for Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Friday and an awesome weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.